In this video, we would be discussing the pronouns one and you. So, if in a sentence you have used one or you, what do you have to do next? That would be the topic of this video. Now, first of all, I would like to give you a rule. If you use it once, you use it twice. It will be helpful if you remember this for the future. Now, let's get into it. If you use it once, you use it twice. For one and you. Suppose you are writing a sentence and in this sentence you have used one. So what do you do next? While referring to the same person, you have to use one again. And this rule would also apply for you. So let's read this sentence now. When you use one while referring to a person in a sentence, then you have to use one or he or she while referring to the same person. So I'll give you an example. If you want to pass the exam, you have to study hard. In this case, we know that it is logical because if I want to do something, I have to work for it. No one else is going to do it for me. So, in case of one, that is also the same rule that would apply. While I'm saying that one has to study hard to pass the exam, I'm referring to someone in third person point of view. So now I also have to refer to the same person. So in a sentence such as, if one wants to pass the exam, then one has to study hard. In this case, I used one, so again, I have to use one. And alternatively, I can switch it up and I can use he or she, because in this case, I'm also referring to someone who is not with me, but I was referring to one person at that time. So it would be, if one wants to pass the exam, then he or she has to study hard. The same rule would be applied to you. In this case, we can actually understand it better because if you want to do something, then you have to work for it. It is logical and we get it intuitively that if you want to pass the exam, you have to work hard. I cannot say if you want to pass the exam, he or she is going to have to work hard. That wouldn't make any sense, which is why we get this intuitively. And again, I would like to remind you of the rule. If you use it once, you use it twice. And if you are not being able to remember it, just think about it logically. In case of you, what would you do? You would use the same thing again, the same pronoun again. And now we would look at some examples. But first, see the sentence structure. So it would be one plus verb, then one or one's plus noun, or he or his plus noun plus verb. And then the sentence will continue. So let's look at some examples. If one does not study for an exam, one is likely to fail. So I was talking about someone and I have to refer again to someone. Then we have another example. We can use he or she. In this one we say, if one does not study for an exam, he or she is likely to fail. Because in this case, I was talking about someone whom I can refer to as he or she. Then we have an incorrect example, which is, if one does not study for an exam, you or they are likely to fail. It is logically incorrect. Because if you think about it, if someone else does not study for an exam, it does not mean that you are going to fail. And the other thing to notice here is that if one does not study for an exam, here the pronoun is singular, so the next pronoun that I'm going to use also has to be singular, and in which case I cannot use they. Again, the rule, if you use it once, you use it twice. For you, the sentence structure would be you plus verb plus you or your plus verb, and then the sentence continues. For example, if you don't study for the exam, you are likely to fail. You should do your homework, because I was referring to you. Thanks, it would be all for today.